You're not going to believe what popped up today. So do me a favor. Get comfortable, smash that like button, and let's jump right into it. Because something happened behind the scenes that looks small on the surface, but it could quietly change the entire feel of this offense at the worst possible time to be experimenting. And that's the key word: time. The calendar is screaming urgency. The margin for error is basically gone, and one decision is forcing everyone in the building to answer a simple, brutal question. Are we really built to win through the mess? Or are we about to get exposed by it? Bolt fam, be honest with me. Do you trust the plan when chaos shows up right now? Or are you still waiting for the other shoe to drop? Because here's the reality. When a team messes with the offensive line late in the season, it's almost never random. Coaches don't do that for fun. They don't do it because they're bored. They do it because someone, somewhere, decided the risk of staying the same just became bigger than the risk of changing. And if that's true, then what you're about to hear isn't just another practice note. It's a message about trust, accountability, and how close the Chargers really think they are to the edge, especially with what's coming on Saturday. Let's talk about Mekhi Becton, because this has been building for months, and it feels like it finally hit a breaking point. When the Chargers decided their big free agency move of 2025 would be signing Becton, it instantly split the fan base. On one hand, you had the excitement. Former first-round talent, a rare body type, Super Bowl experience, and that, if it clicks, we just stole a starter upside. On the other hand, you had the concern, and it was fair. At guard, he had only one season where he looked like a real NFL pro at the position. Not a flashes guy, not a maybe someday guy, a legit steady player at guard. The reason a lot of doubters started to quiet down wasn't magic. It was the contract. 2 years, $20 million with an option to cut him after the first season. That structure matters. It's not just dollars, it's expectations. It's the front office basically saying, we like the upside, we're betting on the trajectory, and we're protecting ourselves if it doesn't hold. Pair that with his first-round pedigree and the postseason resume, and you could see the vision. If he stayed on the path he looked like he was on since signing with the Eagles in 2024, this could be a steal. That's the whole point. A relatively cheaper deal, a controlled risk, and a potential payoff that changes the interior of your line. And early on, it even looked like that vision was real. The first month of the season, he started hot. The kind of start where the film looks clean enough that you can actually breathe, the pocket feels less frantic, and you start thinking, okay, maybe this is the version we're getting. Because when guard play is solid, everything settles down. The run game has a chance to be on schedule. The quarterback doesn't have to live in scramble mode. Your offense can call plays instead of calling prayers. But the season did what seasons do. Injuries started stacking. The line as a whole got banged up. Continuity went out the window. And Becton, instead of becoming the stabilizer, became part of the story for the wrong reasons. More banged up than ever, missing time, and too often looking like a weak link on an offensive line that's already been described as really bad. That's the tough part, because once a line gets labeled, it's like the label sticks to everybody, even the guys fighting through pain, even the guys doing their job. The unit becomes the headline. And here's where it got uncomfortable. Becton didn't just struggle quietly. He complained publicly about how the Chargers handled his injuries. That matters, because it changes the vibe. When a player starts putting that kind of frustration out there, it's not only about a knee or a nagging issue. It's about trust between player and staff. It's about communication. It's about whether everyone believes they're pulling in the same direction when things get hard. And in the NFL, once trust gets shaky, everything else gets louder. Every missed assignment feels bigger. Every bad rep turns into a talking point. Every time a guy is limited, fans start asking, is he hurt, is he upset, or is it both? Now fast forward to Christmas Eve. And this is the detail that should make every Chargers fan sit up straight. Becton was listed as limited at practice with a knee injury. Normally, you see limited, and you think, okay, he's managing reps. He'll probably still be in the starting five. especially this late in the season, when coaches cling to continuity like it's oxygen. Offensive line play is all about knowing the guy next to you. It's all about communication on stunts, blitz looks, and those little split-second decisions that keep the pocket clean. So the natural assumption is, limited today, starts Saturday. But then the reported starting offensive line showed up, and Becton wasn't in it. According to credentialed writer Chris Rim, the Chargers' projected starting line, without Jamari Salyer, looked like this: Bobby Hart at left tackle, Zion Johnson at left guard, Bradley Bozeman at center, Trevor Penning at right guard, and Trey Pipkins at right tackle. Read that again, because the absence is the story. Becton is missing, and when a player goes from big free agent move to not listed with the starters late in the year, you don't need a press conference to understand what that could mean. It raises the real possibility the Chargers finally pulled the plug on Becton. And let me be clear, doing this right now is an interesting choice, borderline dangerous, because offensive line play is built on chemistry. It's built on communication. It's built on the boring details that decide games, knowing how the guy next to you sets, knowing how he likes to pass off a stunt, knowing who takes the looper and who squeezes the inside gap when the defense tries to create confusion. On 3rd and long, one miscommunication can turn into instant pressure. In the red zone, where the field is tighter and the ball has to come out on time, protection cracks faster and windows close quicker. You can't fake that cohesion. So yes, on paper, changing things late in the season sounds like a nightmare. But the counter-argument is just as real. The Chargers didn't really have continuity anyway. Injuries have kept shuffling pieces. And when you're constantly patching holes, continuity becomes a luxury you don't actually have. At that point, the staff has to ask a blunt question. Are we protecting the quarterback the best way possible right now, with what we've got? Or are we staying loyal to a name while the tape keeps telling us the performance and availability aren't matching what we need? That's the tension. That's the debate. And that's what I want to hear from you in the comments. Because fans can feel the difference between a tough, smart adjustment and a panic move. Some of you are going to say, finally, they made the change. Others are going to say, why now? And honestly, both reactions make sense. Both reactions are exactly why this story matters. Because this doesn't just affect one spot. If this change sticks, it affects the entire offense. It affects play calling. It affects how aggressive you can be. It affects whether you can call deeper concepts or if you have to live on quick throws because you don't trust the pocket. It affects whether the run game has clean lanes or if everything gets blown up in the backfield. It affects whether you can stay on schedule or if every drive turns into a 3rd and long survival test where your quarterback has to bail you out. And yes, it affects Justin Herbert more than anyone, because every snap behind a line that's still figuring itself out is a snap where the quarterback has to do a little extra. A little faster, a little smarter, a little more make it work when you'd rather be efficient. And when you're asking your quarterback to be a superhero every week, that's when mistakes sneak in. That's exactly what the Chargers can't afford right now, not with the season sitting on a knife's edge. Now here's what turns the volume all the way up. The Chargers face the Houston Texans on Saturday. Not in a couple weeks. Not after we get some reps. Saturday. That's immediate. That's a new-look offensive line stepping into the biggest kind of test right out of the gate. Because the Texans aren't a let's ease into it opponent. They bring a pass rush that loves turning normal drives into panic. A missed assignment becomes a free rusher. A half-second late in pass protection becomes a hit. One communication error becomes a sack. 2 errors can become a turnover. And once that starts happening, you don't just lose a rep. You lose rhythm. You lose confidence. You start calling plays to avoid disaster instead of calling plays to win. And that is the fastest way to shrink your entire playbook. So when you hear Becton might be getting benched, don't reduce it to a single-player story. This is a statement about urgency. It's the staff admitting something wasn't working and being willing to take heat for changing it late. It's a message to the locker room that availability and performance matter right now, not reputation. And it's also a gamble, because if the protection collapses, everybody is going to ask the same question. Why change something this late? But if it works, if the communication is cleaner, if the pocket is steadier, if the offense looks less frantic, then it's the kind of quiet adjustment that can flip a season in the span of 2 quarters. That's how thin the line is between we fixed it and we broke it. And because the contract was built with an early exit, the stakes aren't just about this Saturday. They're about what the Chargers decide they can live with going forward. So Bolt fam, keep your eyes on those first few drives against Houston. Watch how quickly the ball has to come out. Watch whether the guards are passing off pressure cleanly. Watch if Herbert looks comfortable or if he's instantly in scramble mode. Watch the little things, because the little things are exactly what this decision is about. And I'll ask you again, because this is the kind of question that divides a fan base. Do you think this is the Chargers making the tough, smart call at the perfect time? Or is it a desperate button press that could backfire when the lights get brighter? Drop your take in the comments. And if you're riding with this team into the chaos, make sure you're subscribed. We're tracking every twist, every practice clue, and every lineup hint. And this one feels like the kind of storyline that can change fast. If you're a powder blue lifer, you already know. The season is decided in moments exactly like this, when the team has to choose between comfort and conviction.